Hello and welcome back to Joelee's. Today we are watching ShoeOnHead's newest video. The Iran war situation is crazy, and boy is it. I assume I haven't been paying close attention, so hopefully I'm going to learn something, and so are you. Let's get into it.
What happened? Well, a few weeks ago, our government had a "that's so Raven" premonition. They had a vision, and they saw...
I do want to say, not to call Shue out, but I do think that this is not her original thought. Maybe. We'll see. I'm actually thinking about her tweet that I saw that said this. Maybe she was the one who said it in her tweets. But yeah, That's So Raven, which is a show that I completely missed, so I am not really catching, I guess, Raven here. She has premonitions and acts upon them. Seems like a pretty decent premise for a TV show. Hopefully she learns that she can't, really change things. Or meddling with fate is futile. I love those kind of stories.
Into the future. They saw that Iran was going to attack Israel, so we went ahead and attacked Iran. Now we're in some bullshit war. No, I am not joking. That's basically what happened. Despite the Pentagon saying there was no proof Iran was going to attack, it came to us in a dream. Source, we made it the f*** up. Now, there are many reasons.
It wouldn't be the first time. I'm getting a lot of vibes from previous administrations that I've lived through that went to the Middle East with dubious amounts of evidence and proof. So, they say history doesn't repeat itself, but boy, does it rhyme.
Floating around for this war. Israel, China, Russia, oil, Iran being 2 weeks away from having a nuclear bomb for the past 40 years, bringing democracy to Iran, and many other things. And we can discuss those things. Maybe it's all those things at the same time. But there is one.
I will say, I have this saying that I like to throw out there, and yet again, possibly a solo video or, like an original video topic, but everybody does almost everything they do for two reasons. Two reasons. One of them is the reason they want everybody to know about, their public-facing reason. It's usually the more, magnanimous? It's the morally good reason to do something that you would want everybody to know about. But usually for somebody to be completely motivated to do something, they need to have their secret reason, the reason that benefits them, that they don't want to be forward-facing about. They would prefer you not bring it up. And the thing is, they both of those reasons, they can be, tied together. But, they can both be true. Like you can be honest when you say your forward public-facing reason. Like with Iran, I'm sure nobody, we all, or shouldn't say all, shouldn't speak for everybody. There's a lot of assholes out there, but I think there's plenty of people who are at least relieved that the Iranian government has been, the oppressive Iranian government has been crippled and beheaded essentially. And hopefully this will mean, probably not, but it would hopefully mean that the Iranian people can live freer, more, modern lives, especially their women. And it seems like that's what their people wanted and suffered greatly for trying to get it. So I don't think many people are going to say that that's a bad reason or that isn't at least a good side effect of this. But that's not the only reason we went there. It's not it wasn't just that caused us to pull the triggers on all those missiles.
One thing I feel is just not getting enough attention. And that is the many people in our government who believe in a literal doomsday prophecy about this war and are possibly pushing our president to take the necessary steps to make it happen.
Not just our government, but for many of us in our own homes, our childhood homes, because our parents also believe this. I know my dad does. He actually told me, and you know what? It's not looking wrong so far, but I think around the year 2000, around COVID era, can I say COVID? I don't know. But around the year 2000, my dad, he told me that he believed that the Armageddon, or that the Revelation, everything in Revelations, the rapture would be happening this decade. I think he said 2027, which is just next year. But he believes it, and he wants it to happen. And I think, if I understand what this video is going to be about, she is going to get into the things that many of our parents believe. If you're especially evangelical Christianity, which I'm definitely culturally Christian. I am developing a taste or relationship with Jesus Christ in my life. I'm, dabbling in that. I've been meaning to read my Bible. It's over there. Let me raise this hand. Evangelical Christians taking their interpretation of the Bible, I think it proves that you can't give the average intelligence person and below free reign over matters of literary interpretation. I think that they abuse the Bible because for them the Bible they've decided that it is the true word of God, the Bible as it is today, and they interpret it as such, and because of that they have to bend over backwards to make everything work in it. And also because of that, they're looking to this text that was written centuries, some millennia. All of it's 2 millennia old at minimum, more for the Old Testament, and they're looking at it to guide the future. And you have to remember, this is a book that was essentially voted on by a council of people, like to decide what stays in and what doesn't, all to kind of give I guess a continuation, a continuity to the Roman Empire, and they happen to choose Christianity as the method or the vessel to sort of keep the empire alive. At least that's my perspective on it. And they voted. And they decided what the truth was at a council meeting, a few hundred years after Christ himself died on the cross. And yeah, I could go on and on about this, but I think that the Bible is more literature than it is history. It is a lot of great lessons and wisdom, but if you're trying to look into it to piece together some sort of code to tell you when the end of the world is happening, I just can't. I can't abide in that. I think it takes the power away from the book and the true messages that were put in there by, in my humble opinion, people who were at the tip of communing with God. That's where I see it as being. It was written by humans who were wrestling with the knowledge and the presence of God in their lives. Anyways, so that's my preamble about my dad and my own personal beliefs on the Bible and like the do's and don'ts and the ins and outs. Let's see what Shue has to say, and she's going to get in. I'm just certain she is going to get more into the specifics, the ins and outs of what they believe.
No, I am not joking. No, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not the
Well, it's a conspiracy. It's just more than a theory.
This Owen's channel. This is a...
Oh, wait, that'd be a cool song. More than a theory, more than a theory, more than a conspiracy theory. I think that JFK did not get blown away by Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah, just imagine some like good musicians doing a song like that. Al, just go for it. The Weird Al, like, do a greatest hits album, but instead of it being like greatest hits as in like your actual greatest hits, do a greatest hits album that is you going back in time and covering or parodying great songs that you missed that you still have good ideas for, and so it's almost as though it's like the best songs that Al missed the first time through.
Real thing. And we gotta talk about it. Now, I know I keep saying the next video is going to be a slop video. I know, I'm sorry, but things just keep happening. But that's
Correct.
Okay, it will be over quick, and then we can get to the more important issues, like making fun of women
Guess who else has a white monster? Oh!
on TikTok. So in this video, we will talk about this f***ass war. We will discuss the strange characters who are encouraging it, the doomsday cult they belong to, and I will crash out a little bit.
Oh, yay!
Okay. A lot of it. The Iran war is an extremely hot topic that affects literally everything, from the stock market to gas prices to possible World War III. It feels like I wake up every morning and like 5 major historical events have happened while I was sleeping overnight. So it's pretty hard to keep up with the news lately. And that's why
She is right. Like, Maduro bombing, the missiles in Iran. Like, basically we fall asleep and we wake up in a different world. It is what it is, I guess you would say, for better, for worse. For the record, I think, it was pretty, at the very least, a sign of American military competency, what we did to Maduro. At the very least, we can claim it to be that, so, yeah. I guess technically what the first strikes on Iran, too.
for 5 years now, I have been using today's sponsor, Ground News.
Wow.
So let's quickly give them a shout out before we get into this video, shall we? Ground News is a website and an app that gives readers a fun, easy, and transparent way to read the news from all across the political spectrum, from left, right, and center. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of political bias that helps you understand the full story and really make sure you're seeing both sides. It even tells you who these outlets are owned by, which is really cool. Ground News makes it really easy to compare headlines to see how political bias can really affect the framing of a story. For example, this story about how Trump says he's postponing strikes on Iran power plants. A right-wing outlet covered it like, oil goes down and the stock exchanges go back up to the green after Donald Trump talks about Iran. And a left-wing outlet covered it like, surprise, Trump tacoed out of his plan to obliterate Iranian power plant.
Well, what is tacoed? I should know this because we used to have waffled. TACO. If you know what tacoed is, please leave a comment and let me know, because I'm not going to Google that. I'm going to let you, the commenter, inform me, because I believe in this community. And I believe that we, as fence-sitters, can stare into our navel and just debate words until the end of time, until the Fourth Reich comes up upon us and startles us off the fence, and then we fall to our deaths.
As you can see, very different vibes here. One of my favorite features on Ground News has to be the blind spot feature, which shows you news stories that have been covered by one side of the political spectrum and ignored by the other. For example, here's a story about how Trump is still more popular than Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom.
Big surprise, folks. What the hell? How is that possible? Trump is more popular than a charismatic black hole and a man who is compared to Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. I am aghast at this. How ever could we believe that the man who is at the very least competently leading the United States in its power moves and has made actual substantial changes, whether you like him or not, but has actually caused change to happen, is more popular? However could he be more popular than a do-nothing vice president and a do the worst thing, does his worst governor? Despite
everything that's going on, but they're still going to run them in 2028, aren't they? Yeah. 29 sources covered this. 70% of them were right-wing, and only 15% were left-wing, probably because it's a little embarrassing. I have been using Ground News for years now. It is one of the first apps I look at when I wake up in the morning. But don't just take my word for it. Even the Nobel Peace Center called it an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers, and expand your worldview.
Heaven forbid. I feel like I saw, as I was in the left-wing ecosystem for up until the 2025, I would say I was still in it. So up until sometime early last year. And I feel like every time Ground News came up on one of those channels, they always were dismissive of it or said that it was not a good source or something to avoid. And I wonder why, because ultimately, if these people, whether they be very much on the left or very much on the right, they need you to stay in the echo chamber, because that is how they keep you as a loyal, like, you know, soldier who shows up and is constantly at least contributing to the, you know, the ever eroding our country's fiber culture war. I mean, because ultimately, I don't think they actually want this to go into any sort of hot war. They don't want a civil war. They just want to erode away what the American identity, and replace it maybe with nothing, you know, or let another country come in and dictate what they replace it with. They're just trying to, you know, make us not believe in ourselves and us to feel like small and insignificant, and to feel guilty if we ever do, you know, have agency.
First of all, I am currently offering 40% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to get all of their amazing features. So go to ground.news/shoe, that's ground.news/shoe, or use the QR code right here on screen, or the link in the video description. I think what they're doing is really important, especially right now. I feel like we need to see the news in a more transparent and balanced way. It is just a really great app, and I recommend it. So thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad, as always. Right? Now, let's get back to the video.
Yes, call me mommy.
Happy day 24 of the special 2-week military operation, everybody. We did it! Mission accomplished. I feel like every day I wake up and Trump is like, we won. And then something else blows up. And then again, he's like, we won. And then we're back at war, but it's not a war. But we won the war. Hey, maybe it will be over by the time this video uploads, because apparently Iran wants to talk to J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is apparently the peacemaker here. Imagine the Iran war. Imagine
your mutual J.D. Vance. It's all rumors and hearsay, obviously, but supposedly he's of all the people in the administration, he actually didn't want this to go down. He's the guy in the room who was most opposed to this. So maybe that's possibly why they would be talking to him.
Possible World War III, even. In the hands of a ShoeOnHead fan. We're all gonna die. People, word for word, bar for bar, repeating the NPC talking points that we heard during the Iraq War. This Middle Eastern country is building weapons of mass destruction. They hate America. We're gonna bring them democracy. It's all the same shit. It's all the same people pushing for this shit. Only this time we have social media, and we are seeing war propaganda from all sides being debunked right in front of our eyes. Social media has like truly been the worst thing that has ever happened to the government. Imagine like getting away with decades and decades of propaganda now being debunked in real time by people called like Pee Poo Poo 69. Brutal. Sorry, I have to like white balance my camera. I'm using... It's story time! I'm gonna be the new Miss Rachel. Today's number is 7, and we're gonna talk about Tower 7! Anyway, I'm not the kind of person...
I'd watch you. If I had kids, I'd let them watch that.
And that's like, oh, I hope Iran wins. That's like, I saw people saying that, like, that is psychotic. I don't want to go down with the USS Great Satan, you know what I mean? Like, if we're in a war... I want to win the war. I just don't understand why there has to be a war. We know regime change doesn't f***ing work. We've tried this already. It never f***ing works. We always make shit worse. We're not the world police. There are so many people all over the world suffering, but our priority as America is to take care of Americans. And the American people are suffering. And now we're asking for $200 billion for war? $200 billion. Notice nobody's like, who's gonna pay for that? When it's shit like war, but when it's for your mom's diabetes medication, it's pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. $200 billion while American situations have not gotten any better. In fact, they're...
I should have gotten into weapons manufacturing. I could be like, look at me. I look like I could be a Kojima character right now. I could be I don't know, Joelee, like, I don't know, Joelee ballistic missile expert, you know, weapons manufacturer and, you know, distributor. I mean, shit, that'd probably be much closer to retirement if I had worked for Raytheon.
Just going to get worse now. Everything is going to get more expensive, but that's okay, apparently. That's okay. That's not a concern.
The U.S. economy is fundamentally sound, and that if it were to be extended, it wouldn't really disrupt the U.S. economy very much at all. It would hurt consumers, and we'd have to think about, if that continued, what we would have to do about that. But that's like really the last of our concerns right now.
Consumer.
What? Yeah, what? It would hurt consumers. That's the last of our concerns right now. I'm sorry, brother, but isn't the U.S. economy made up of U.S. consumers? I mean, if that's not what our economy is, then what the hell is the economy even for at that point?
Consumers. That's what we are to these people. Just
Yes.
good little obedient bug.
Don't be a consumer. That's like maybe my number one thing that we should strive for. You are a citizen of your nation. You are not a consumer. Go out of your way to consume less and just to try to stick it to them. Buy secondhand as much as possible. Use thrift stores if you can. If you don't have phobias about that, buy your cars used. All of that. Don't buy firsthand new, and just try to as little as possible consume, because it's a protest. It's a protest against this whole thing, and be a citizen. Be an active, engaged citizen, not a consumer. If they call you a consumer, spit on them. I'm not a consumer. I'm a citizen. I was born to this country. This country raised me. There's a collective us that we've decided upon, and that collection is a collection of citizens.
People gonna go see a Marvel movie, maybe buy a Labubu, eat a little Dubai chocolate. We have no soul, no lives, no families to take care of. We are just consumed. And when we can't take care of those families. You know what their solution is? What's their solution? Take fewer trips to Starbucks.
I haven't been to a Starbucks. I haven't bought coffee. I think like the last time I bought coffee was probably when I was in an airport and I couldn't bring my own. I have a thermos over there. I make my coffee at home and I bring it with me.
If I say what I am thinking, I will be banned off YouTube, so I will simply be silent. Gas is gonna be like a fucking $1 billion. But that's okay, guys. Short-term pain, long-term gain.
This is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain be for long-term gain.
We're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
And this is what the Daily Show, like when we talk about how fire the Daily Show was, well, the millennials, if you're a Zoomer here or Alpha, when the millennials talk about the Daily Show, what they're talking about is this, when they would come on and point out the talking points by having these one talking head after another. This is where Shoe got it. I love that she's continuing this, because I don't know if the Daily Show is still doing it, and even if they were, they don't have nearly the talents or the clout that they used to, because what cable news network does. But just one after another, like talking point, same talking point. These people are on the they're on the take. They are all part of the same system, and they're all pushing the same messaging. And this messaging has been determined, most likely, if they're competent at what they're doing. They've done like research with, kind of like groups of people. Like, what is that called? It's basically they do market research and find what a message will actually resonate with Americans by asking normal Americans to sit down and listen to the messages until they find something that makes everybody kind of nod in agreement. I think at least that's how the Republicans do it. I assume the Democrats do it by getting their consultation class all in a room at a hotel with very expensive breakfasts, and then they all just agree what they feel like feels best to them in the moment, and don't talk to any. The closest thing they have to maybe talking to somebody is the waiters that are like serving them their very expensive breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Sort of like maybe nodding in agreement at most, but they wouldn't see those people, because they don't see people like that. They don't acknowledge that they're actually humans. They don't think anybody without a college degree is worth their time, their energy, their mental thoughts. So there's one thing, like, you hate to see it, but the Republicans win because they actually do acknowledge that the American people are people.
Short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain.
Short-term pain for American consumers.
Short-term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefits.
I love it when they jazz, when it's like, here's the talking point, and somebody's like, well, I can't say it like everybody else said it. I have to say it. I just got to put my twist on it, so it seems like it came from here, not a script. I'm not reading a script. I'm thinking. I am thinking.
Term pain for the long-term gain.
What in the NPCS is this?
Yes.
It is your patriotic American duty to unplug the TVs in your parents' and grandparents' house right now. Destroy their satellite dishes.
Yes.
Log them out of Facebook. It is up to us
They
to
forgot the
stop the
password.
boomers from sending the
made it 20
Zoomers
years
to
ago.
another war in the Middle East. The amount of people who were anti-regime change war, like last Thursday, who have completely 180'd is fucking insane. I literally have no theory of mind for being that hyper partisan.
Okay, total. Sorry, wide partisan divide over initial decision to use military force in Iran and how the U.S. action is going. Percentage who say the U.S. made the blank decision in using military force in Iran. Right was 59% with wrong. No. Right was 38% with wrong being 59. But Republicans and Republican-leaning people said it was the 71% right to 26%, and then Democrats said 11%. I mean, that is as abysmal of a number as you pretty much can get in a poll in this modern age. But still, I'm almost surprised it was even 11%. I could have seen that number being as low as 2%.
Brained. Like, a lot of these people are just like totally for this now because it's Trump doing it. Some of you are cattle.
It's like I decided when Trump got elected to get over the Trump derangement syndrome, and that's really opened my eyes to the full spectrum of decision making in America, and it's made me appreciate some of the things he has done, and I can admit he's, at the very least, whether you like it or not, he is probably the most consequential president since FDR. At this point, I think he eclipsed Reagan in terms of how important he is as a president. But I'm not also a Trumper, I guess you would say at this point. I'm not MAGA, and so I don't I don't just think, oh, if he does it, and that's and I know that type of person. I know those kind of people because they're my parents. It's like, if Ronald Reagan did it, then it means it was right. If Trump did it, it means it was right. It's like, no, they are leaders, and they were voted on for a reason. They have their opportunities to make their decisions. Some of those decisions pan out well. Some of those decisions pan out poorly. And we'll see how this Iran decision pans out. But, if you were against the idea of going to war with Iran, and then you flipped to, yes, let's go to war with Iran, that's not a good thing. Just because Trump did it, just because it's like, well, if Trump did it, then it's okay. If that's your thought process, then you need to stop it. I mean, you're not thinking anyway, so you might as well stop, and definitely don't voice your opinion. Yeah, that's more or less what I have my feelings towards that. I mean, I didn't know enough about Iran to have a solid opinion about this. I will never claim to be a geopolitical mastermind or anything like that, but I will say that from the perspective of knocking out the leadership, it seemed like this was an inevitability. So if you're going to strike, you might as well strike first. I might eat those words later, but at the very least, as of right now, I'm going to stand by that and say that we were going to do this eventually at some point. Yeah. And so I'm not that I'm anti, I'm not, I don't know how well we're handling it. I don't know if there's a better way of getting through it. I mean, maybe we are in a spot where it will be a lot, what they were just saying, short-term pain, long-term gain. But I mean, if you're thinking about it in terms of gains, I don't know if that's correct. It's more like there was too much of a rogue element to Iran for us to be able if we could. It's like one of those situations where it feels like it's one of those situations where we couldn't both exist in the long run. The then current leadership of Iran and the United States government, eventually something had to give. So, still don't love where we're at. So let's continue watching. Maybe this will provide me some clarity. And like I said, I am no expert. I am kind of shooting from the hip, listening to my gut, which I don't think is necessarily the healthiest way of going about things.
Some of you are weak. You are submissive and breedable. The only politician
I mean, not wrong.
simp for is Huey Long, and that's because he's dead and can't disappoint me. The worst part about this whole war thing is not the death and destruction and possible economic collapse and nuclear fallout, but the fact that it's good for the Democrats. They will probably win midterms, and if things get worse, they will probably win 2028 too, without learning any lesson, without changing at all. They
did nothing, and they're going to benefit from it. I mean that is ultimately, maybe that is the reason Democrats do nothing at all, because they know on a long enough timeline, if they barely do anything, their opponent will eventually make a mistake. The Republicans will eventually make a mistake, and then they can capitalize on it. That has to be their strategy, because there's nothing else that makes sense.
Will literally run on Orange Man bad and win. I am tired of politics. I am tired of voting. Take away the 19th Amendment. I don't want it. I don't want it. The men can have it. The men can deal with it. I'm done. I'm tired of voting for pee-pee or poo-poo and always getting diarrhea. I'm done. The end. End of video.
Oh, Shoe, you wish.
Sorry. Mommy's
the crash out came early, didn't it?
not mad. She's just disappointed. Anyway, like I said, there are many stated reasons behind this war. One of the things people blame this war on a lot is Israel. Many people believe that Iran was not an immediate threat to us, and that this is just another conflict that Israel is dragging us into, making us fight their war for them. Because of this and everything that's happened in Gaza, Israel's PR is in the toilet. Polls are showing Israel is becoming extremely unpopular, especially with young people. It's getting so...
I mean, it already was. I mean, let's just say that's not something that I feel like, with the versions of left wing and the versions of more right wing that I am now, and I was then, one thing that hasn't changed is not liking Israel. At least with the people that I tend to listen to and have opinions that I listen to, that's still pretty consistent.
Bad that the Israeli government literally had to pay internet influencers to say good things about them. No, I'm not kidding. This is a real thing that happened. It was filed with the US Department of Justice. They undisclosed paid a bunch of YouTubers, TikTokers, Twitter personalities to run defense for them last year, and they are most likely still doing that today. Imagine losing the internet PR war to 20-year-olds with anime avatars making TikTok edits of Jeffrey Epstein and Agartha. And listen, I know many people are tired of everybody blaming Israel for everything. Like, oh, I stubbed my toe this morning. It was Israel. They associate criticism of Israel with people like Hassan Piker or Candace Owens. They are just tired, and I get it.
That's right there. That is what I mean. I'm not that I was a Hassan watcher. I've never been a Candace Owens watcher, but she is, there's other people in that space that have also very negative things to say, or very critical things to say about Israel, and they tend to, I don't think they're not necessarily wrong.
Hopefully I can bring some nuance into this discussion. Not everything is Israel's fault, but when it comes to the Middle East in particular, when it comes to American foreign policy, Israel is extremely relevant. This is a historical fact, and if we are going to be attached to the hip to this country, we should absolutely be allowed to talk about it without a bitch in our ear calling it anti-Semitism. It is 2026. We are done with the thought-terminating buzzwords. We are done with the is.
I saw a comedian the other day, a clip from a comedian. Granted, it's in my feed. I've maybe primed my feed for them to know that this clip was going to be great for me, but she was called... I don't think it shows the joke she made, but it starts with a heckler calling her a racist. And the comedian, this lady, Wexler, was that her name? Anyways, she says, no, man. Well, ma'am, first of all, I'm a professional racist, and got a huge pop, huge laugh. Everybody loved her for it. Like, women can be funny. Let's face it, guys. Fellas, am I right? Women can be funny. Not many of them, but the ones who are, kill it. Just like, just like men. There's plenty of men out there who aren't funny. But she said that, and it's just proof positive that the buzzwords, like, at this point, if anything, people are starting to call themselves racist, and unfortunately, I'm okay with it's like I'm okay with people calling me racist, but I still don't like Nazis. But the Nazis are bold enough to feel like it doesn't, or the people who get called Nazi are getting to the point where it doesn't mean shit to them anymore. The buzzword, these buzzwords are over and done with.
And the isms, these don't work anymore. It's not racist to criticize Black Lives Matter. It's not sexist to criticize feminism. It is not anti-Semitic to criticize a foreign country. And frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing you can do for Jewish people right now is conflate the nation of Israel with Jewish people as a whole. Like, what are you doing? Oh, you don't want the world to end in some kind of nuclear holocaust? What are you? An anti-Semite? It's like when there's legislation to give pedophiles the death penalty and people come out like, this is transphobic. It's like,
what
do you mean by that? It's good to question mainstream narratives. That's why this entire
that's not good for trans people, honestly. Actually, no, I date one. It would be horrible to conflate the two.
Entire channel was created in the first place. We are here to criticize the media and the government that has a history of lying to us, especially on topics like this. If you don't think that's totally valid and normal, and you think I'm an anti-Semite for this, well, I have been called racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic for the past 15 years. Honestly, what is one more to add to the list? When this all initially popped
based
off, one of my first tweets about this was this.
It's actually crazy. A bunch of people in our government don't know how to read the Bible, so now we worship a foreign country that was created 80 years ago. Yes, that is exactly what I was getting at with the Bible, I guess, worship, which is ironic because that's kind of what you're supposed to do, but you're supposed to be worshiping God, and the Bible is anyways, that we're going to get into it, and I already went on a rant at the top of the video. But that tweet, when I saw her make that tweet, I knew that this was going to be a really good video.
One of my first tweets about this was this. Many people were confused as to exactly what I was talking about, so let me explain it simply. There are people in our government right now who believe in a biblical prophecy about Israel. Pete Hegseth, Lindsey Graham, Mike Pompeo, Ted Cruz, Mike Johnson, Mike Huckabee.
I'm sorry for Ted Cruz. No matter, if I were to vote for Republicans for the rest of my life, which I don't plan on it, I have a hard time imagining I'm going to be able to stomach voting for a Republican. But if I were to start voting for Republicans, I still would not vote for Ted Cruz. The man has no spine, and he has no sense of leadership in public, like duty to office. I've disliked him for a long time, but nail in coffin of ever voting for him is when he left Texas during the freeze. That little rat fuck. Yeah. We're most Texans, especially in the big cities like Houston and Austin and San Antonio and Dallas, would apologize to you for ever putting Ted Cruz into the world and giving him any power at all. He's weak. He is he cosplays masculinity, and he believes that he believes that Israel essentially is more important than America because God said so.
And many, many others believe a massive war surrounding the Middle East will bring Jesus Christ back. They want this. To them, this is the good ending. We'll all be saved. Great. Awesome. Unfortunately, many Americans and many people all around the world will die in a giant nuclear war. Not great. Bad, even. This particular religion is called dispensationalism, a type of evangelical Christianity that became popular in the 20th century. That's right, today we are talking about the...
Also, most of like what we think of as the rapture, and yet again, this is more here, this is like not, I don't have all of it on this, but there's this YouTuber called Redeem Zoomer. I want to say he's on his way. He's studying to be a priest in the Presbyterian sect of religion. He's a big fan of Presbyterians. Big surprise. He is one. But he had an entire video about how the concept of not just the rapture. I think, is it the rapture? I'm trying to remember all the different parts of it. But basically the idea of like all the Christians being taken off of earth before the tribulations is something, like as that, so that they don't have to suffer through the trials and tribulations of the apocalypse of Revelations, is just basically fan fiction, biblical fan fiction. Some guy in the 19th century, I want to say, just decided that was his interpretation. That's what he interpreted from the Bible and started spreading it. And that's what most of these people believe, and this is all pretty much, almost all of it is recent interpretations, like relatively recently, like the religion's been around 2,000 years. So if an idea popped up 150, 200 years ago, that's pretty freaking recent.
EQ. The evangelical question. Evangelicals are one
we need to be asking this question. Yes, there's, because more so than any other, like I would think that this something similar would be if we were like, it would be like if you had a HQ instead of a JQ for a Hasidic question. It would be kind of like that, where it's like, we're not talking about every Christian out there. We're not talking about most standard Christians. We're not talking about Catholics especially. I have a lot of respect for the Catholics. Well, not just respect. I mean, I kind of grew up. Turns out, okay, I thought I grew up Catholic, but it turns out that I grew up in a, what is it called? Are we converted to a traditional church or high church? So that means that it was a much more formal mass, but it wasn't quite Catholicism. It was like a offshoot of the Church of England.
The largest religious groups in America, and they are a huge, important voter bloc. Important detail to remember. What you have to understand is evangelical
Not a fan of Baptists, which is actually what my dad is right now.
Christianity is absolutely f***ing obsessed with the end times. This isn't just like an offhand thing that's mentioned in the Bible and they bring up some...
The Christians have their own, you could practically call it the equivalent of Harry Potter. It kind of came out around the same era, called Left Behind, and it is essentially biblical what if, fan fiction about the end times. They love this shit. That was a bestseller. If you went into a Walmart, probably between the years of like 2001, I don't know, something like that, through like 2015, you were bound to see multiple copies, maybe even all, like the entire series of books on their bookshelves at Walmart, especially.
No, this is like their whole fucking thing. It's like all their talks, their sermons, their books. Basically, they are extremely horny for the end of the world. Mm-hmm. And many of those people are in the president's ear right now.
Strike and 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 strike. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda ata ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa tata rite eke banda.
I think this is what they would call speaking in tongues. I'm fairly certain. Okay, so yeah, when I was a kid, I remember this, and I was a little boy. I probably remember more than my parents want me to. They took me to a church, Baptist church in Louisiana before I moved to Texas and, found God's promised land. But I was at a church in Louisiana, and they played us what they said were the sounds of coming from hell as the angels went into hell and went to war with the demons and the devils of hell. And it was essentially like sound, probably like audio from, I presume, the first Iraq war, the Desert Storm. What had been around that time? because it was definitely Bush 1 era. Anyways, I think it would probably been Desert Storm. And I remember them playing this, and I remember being young enough or somehow clever enough to be like, this is just, real world audio they're playing for us. I was probably like 3, 4 at the time. Anyways, but yeah, that's like how they think they think they conceptualize this religion stuff as like, angels as soldiers going into hell, invading hell, like our soldiers invaded Iraq.
That schizo is Paula White Cain, Trump's current spiritual advisor. Like most evangelicals, she considers Israel her spiritual home, thinks Christians should be mandated to go to Israel in order to go to heaven, and believes that backing Israel is a biblical mandate. Now, what the f*** am I talking about? What?
Okay. I regret my earlier statements, but I doubly regret that I still would.
What do these people mean by biblical mandate? Well, thanks to the Scofield Bible, a version of the Bible that placed little, like, notes next to everything that explained the biblical text, evangelicals believe...
Yeah, that's always... the trust... that should be considered very suspicious if a Bible is explaining to you what the Bible is about, and instead of letting you try to, at the very least, interpret it or have a conversation with other people about it. Like that, you just be suspicious if somebody is telling you what the Bible is saying, instead of letting its words speak to you directly or having a conversation. Like if anybody has a strict, this is what this means about almost anything, instead of leaving it up to personal, at the very least, like allowing for some level of personal insight and allowing for the words to provide personal insight, just be suspicious of them, especially with texts like the Bible. It's not like a legal document, which probably they see more room for interpretation of a legal document than they do for the Bible itself.
It is their duty to protect Israel. You're probably thinking like, okay, so what? Like, we have overlapping interests with Israel. Who cares if these evangelicals want to protect Israel, right? Well, there's a little more to it.
Yeah.
Basically, the evangelical dispensationalist belief goes like this.
I'm getting South Park explaining the the Mormons, not the Mormons, the Scientologist vibes right now. I might have to crack myself a sparkler. From the God-given. They say Israel's the promised land? No, buddy. Anywhere you can get to an HEB, that's a promised land.
Step 1. The Jewish people return to the land of Israel. Step 2. Israel becomes the main character in a massive war. Step 3.
Leave it to have main character syndrome.
Global destruction called the tribulation occurs. Step 4. Armageddon happens. And step 5. Jesus Christ returns. Behold, the fruits of Martin Luther. To get my biases out of the...
Hey, many great ideas started, are the good ideas at the start, you can't see the consequences. But she's not wrong, but it's also reductive. Oh no. Did I pause too much?
A little bit. I was born and raised Catholic. Baptized, communion, confirmation, catechism class for years, all that stuff. I stopped caring for a while. I had like a edgy atheist stage as a teenager. Then I was agnostic for a while, and then in 2020, when I moved back home during COVID, I returned to Catholicism.
For some reason, I'm getting major deja vu. Did I watch this part of a video already? Did I already react to this video? There's no way I already reacted, and I didn't watch this video. But I remember her talking about this. Did she, release this early, or did I watch it on TikTok? Maybe not TikTok, Twitter, X.
Needless to say, I am comfortable with identifying as Catholic again today. I don't talk about this shit because it's not relevant, but it's relevant here. I have many Protestant friends, a few are evangelical. This isn't to like hate on them, even though I'm going to be making jokes, but it's just to shine a light on a heavy bias some people in power may have towards the Middle East. If a bunch of Catholics were in power pushing for us to go to war for the Vatican or something, that would also be a conversation worth having. But that is not happening right now. And if you're wondering why Ted Cruz suddenly out of nowhere is sharing like 10,000 word AI slop essays about how Catholics are parasites.
1 second, my mom just tried calling me. I need to yeah, no, that's another reason I'm not, like I said, I wasn't Roman Catholic, I always had an affinity for Catholics, so and Protestants, like straight, like especially more evangelical, the further you are from the Catholic Church, the more you tend to see them like they see them as like this, like basically what it says on screen about Ted Cruz calling them parasites, and it's like I don't care for that at all. And I think that's very disgusting that they would throw their fellow Christians under the bus like that. Though, if you know anything about American history, which I just recently learned, I shouldn't say if you know anything about American history, I knew a lot about American history. I didn't even fully appreciate this. The founding fathers were not big fans of the Catholics, and part of the reason for the American Revolution was because the founding fathers were afraid that Catholics would be imported into America and that they would delude or overtake this Protestant land. So kind of one of those, the more you know thing. It's not really talked about as being one of the reasons we decided to have the American Revolution, you know?
It's because he's butthurt that Catholics don't believe in the same doomsday prophecy about Israel as him and other evangelicals do. Catholics are not religiously obligated to support Israel. Same with Orthodox and honestly, most branches of Christianity. Evangelical Protestants, on the other hand, don't know how to fucking read and think the modern state of Israel is the same Israel mentioned in the Bible. This would be like the fry cook at McDonald's being named Jesus and you falling to your knees and worshiping him as the savior, and then blowing up the world for him.
I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate. And I've worked every day to do that. Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from...
This was a huge moment. Like I said, already didn't like Ted Cruz, but this went from me thinking that he was just not, how should I say, that we weren't aligned on our social economic thought processes, and this is when I realized, oh no, he's retarded.
In the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Well, hold on. Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel.
To think all of this could have been avoided if we simply named Israel Sand, New Jersey. Dispensationalists take the Bible extremely literally. They're basically like the autism of Christianity, which is why so many Protestant evangelicals in our government are Zionists. Now, let's discuss the word Zionist, because I know that word like makes some of you cringe, and I don't blame you, because it's kind of just like thrown around so haphazardly today. It basically means nothing anymore. There are Zionists of all races and religions. Not all Jewish people are Zionists. Not all Zionists are Jewish. Most Zionists in our government are not Jewish. So don't let them ever guilt trip you into thinking you're anti-Semitic for criticizing people like Ted Cruz. Also, it's not anti-Semitic to criticize the Jewish people in our government either, like Randy Fine. Bro is a freak. There is a reason the first time I shook Netanyahu's hand, I did not wash it until I could touch the heads of my children.
Why do we like these people? Why? This is the reason. I honestly think this is the reason America's weak now. These are the people that we put into office. The people who Netanyahu. God, dog, you're not even talking. That's. I just don't even have words for this. That is a freak thing to say. That is like not the Onion thing to say. It's so unbelievable.
What the fuck? Anyway, contrary to popular belief, Zionism does not mean when you like passively support Israel as like a good ally to have in the Middle East. That is not what being a Zionist is. It's like a whole ideology. It's like a movement. Now, one of the major characters who believes in this like doomsday lore anime is Lindsey Graham. If you don't know who Lindsey Graham is, you've probably seen him on Fox News a few times. He's been on like every single night the past 3 weeks. To make it short, he is the senator of South Carolina, and he is a notorious neocon war hawk.
Yes.
He has
Here's more. He's notorious for other things too.
never met a war he didn't like. He is basically the real life version of the Holden Blood Feast meme. That is Lindsey Graham. So Lindsey, girl's name by the way, believes that defending Israel is God's will and has said things like,
if America pulls the plug on Israel, God will pull the plug on us.
and I wouldn't blame anybody if they assumed he was the senator of Tel Aviv and not the senator of South Carolina. When his own state was hit with a massive hurricane, bro said this.
Elon Musk for that. But look, you know, I've been going all over South Carolina like most people. I hadn't slept much. But look what's going on in Israel. They're running out of ammunition in Israel. We have to help our friends.
The man even outright says he would support a foreign country over the citizens of America.
No way. Why is he still in office? That should be instantly disqualifying. He should have been voted out. And he's still in office. Like, I mean, I know like America First has like, you know, connotations that I probably don't want to associate myself with. But if you're a fucking senator, man, you should be putting, and maybe not even, it's not even America First at that point, it's your constituents. It's the people who voted you into office. It's the people you are voted to represent. It's the people who gave you your great power, and thus you owe them a great responsibility. And you're going to get up there and talk about Israel during a time of crisis for your people? I don't understand. Like, I mean, I could be not okay. I would disagree with you, obviously, if you were talking about Israel when, you know, or talking about supporting Israel at a time when your people are safe and sound. But to make that your priority, even when your people are suffering, bro.
All the anti-Semites to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day.
The anti-Semites and the isolationists? The isolation, saying you aren't with Americans and are with a foreign country is so fucking insane for a United States politician to say. How is this guy still in office? This is like borderline treasonous.
Israel and the United States, you just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks meaning what?
We're going to blow the hell out of these people.
I'm sorry, we're gonna what? It's not war if the balls don't touch. Okay, so Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz are weird, American last freaks who believe this doomsday shit, but like, who cares, right? There's a bunch of those guys, like, who gives a fuck what they believe? Well, here's the issue. Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham might be the little birdies in Trump's ear pushing us to do this war.
I don't think that, I personally don't think that Trump is one of these people, like in his heart of hearts, but I do think that he has chosen not the best, you know, not all the best people to surround him, and he has these I just wish there was a word I could use for them, but yeah, these dispensationist, chattering in his ear, these and you know. I don't have no idea. Like, why Trump? Why would you have Ted Cruz on your side? You so demolished him. You should have used your power to take away his seat in the Senate. You could have. I mean, we're Texans. We would vote for almost any Republican. You know, I'm surprised he hasn't been primaried. Since I don't vote Republican, I didn't keep track of the Republican primaries, so I don't know like what opposition Ted had coming his way. I don't know if we just try to put up some like limp, you know, like somebody that he could easily just dismiss as a rhino or something like that. But like I said, I have no idea why the people of Texas vote for this person. There has to be a better Republican out there to be the senator from Texas.
Urged the president to launch this attack. As you noted, I was with him pretty much the entire day on Friday before the attack launched on Saturday. Pretty much the whole time he was asking me what I thought we should do on Iran.
And Lindsey Graham apparently had direct contact with Netanyahu. To help make the case on Iran, Graham traveled several times to Israel in recent weeks, meeting with members of the country's intelligence agency.
Might as well just live
They'll
out there,
tell me
Lindsey.
things our own government won't tell me, he said. He spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, coaching him on how to lobby the president for action. Netanyahu showed the president intelligence that persuaded Trump to go ahead, Graham said. Ah yes, Netanyahu, someone we should definitely listen to when it comes to this subject.
There is no question whatsoever that Saddam is seeking and is working and is advancing towards the development of nuclear weapons. No question whatsoever.
No question whatsoever. It's crazy how I literally warned about this happened. Like months ago, I literally warned the administration, keep away from Lindsey Graham.
Trump, listen to me. Wait, Trump doesn't watch this shit. Vance, listen to me. Get people like Lindsey Graham far away from anyone in power right now. This little Venezuela stunt was cute, but we are not touching any other countries. We're not touching the Middle East, especially. No more Middle East. We all have Middle East fatigue.
Yes.
I just need to say, I don't like being correct about this stuff. I would rather be wrong. I would love nothing more than to be f***ing wrong about everything. If we don't put boots on the ground, if we don't create a new forever war, that would be the best thing ever. You can come back to this video and say, na boo boo, you were wrong. And I would be like, hell yeah. Fantastic. That would be wonderful. I will personally write a handwritten letter apologizing to Cat Turd for not trusting the plan. I don't know what the f is gonna happen. All I know is I saw a commercial for the military with white men in it. So, not a good sign. And right now...
What? Wish she played a little bit of that commercial.
Now, as I am making this video, our good friend Lindsey Graham is talking about putting boots on the ground.
Here's what I tell President Trump. Keep it up for a few more weeks. Take Carg Island, where all of the resources they have to produce oil. Control that island. Let this regime die on a vine.
Is this going to, though, take Carg Island? Is it going to involve U.S. troops on the ground?
We did Iwo Jima. We can do this.
We did Iwo Jima. We can do this. What the f? For those unaware, Iwo Jima was one of the most brutal battles of World War II. About as many Americans died in that battle than all of the Iraq and Afghanistan war combined. This guy's a f***ing freak, dude. Also, who the f*** is we? We? You enlisting Lindsey Graham? Bitch.
Well, we have...
Yeah, that is the biggest tragedy of the war in general. It's guys like this little turd on the screen right here who send like the youth out to die, and they sometimes they do it for the most necessary of reasons, and sometimes it's just this law, to bring back Jesus.
The best chance in 2,000 years when Iran is neutralized.
I'm sorry, I thought this war started in 1979, when the Iranian Revolution overthrew the puppet government we installed in the 1950s. But I guess I was wrong. This war actually started 2,000 years ago. That's right, it's
this war predates America in his head.
not about weapons of mass destruction. It's not about bringing democracy to Iran. Turns out we're fighting an ancient desert war. Exactly what MAGA voted for.
Is this what Dune was about?
Another factor that is relevant to these warmongers banging on the war drum is, of course, money. Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham receive a ton of money from AIPAC. Many politicians in our government are paid by AIPAC, Democrat and Republican, which is why you probably don't see a ton of anti-Iran war stuff coming from even the Democrats, when they would usually jump on literally anything to make Orange Man look bad. The only thing Democrats and Republicans can agree on is protecting pedophiles and war. Great. AIPAC stands for the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Now, you might sometimes see people bring up like AIPAC money, like, oh, this guy takes AIPAC money. And maybe some of you don't really understand like why that's a big deal. So I'm going to explain it in a nuanced way you can hopefully understand. The reason why people don't like big money being involved in politics in general is because it can literally purchase the way a politician will govern.
100%. If you need the money, you know, money's a great motivator, and it will get these people, she's going to explain it, but it will, you know, you can buy your way into power by supporting, and most likely putting money behind both candidates that you think have a snowball's chance in hell, and, you know, just scooping up the one that wins and making sure that they are indebted to you, or threatening the candidate that you think has the best chance of winning, that if they don't get behind you, you're going to put all that money into making sure the opponent wins. And let's face it, money in this country, money wins elections.
For example, if a billionaire CEO of a health insurance company donates to a politician, you can bet that politician is probably not going to advocate for things like socialized healthcare or anything like that. And if a candidate takes a lot of money from something like AIPAC, that is a sign they will probably have a heavy bias toward war in the Middle East. That's why people prefer when a candidate only takes like small donations from voters. There's no corporations, billionaires, or foreign governments pulling the strings there. Like how I take money from you, the people. I am funded directly by Big Simp. Some politicians get paid a lot.
The shoe simps, the SS. The few, the proud, the simpy.
By AIPAC. And some politicians sell out for the price of a Big Mac and fries.
What?
Yikes. Weird fact, one of the top donors to AIPAC was actually the creator of OnlyFans who died recently. He gave like millions of dollars to AIPAC. And AIPAC gives millions of dollars to the people.
I'm just going to point out, the world's largest pimp. And I believe that, you know, as that was essentially his role as the founder of and, you know, perpetuator of OnlyFans, was Israel Buttboy.
In Congress. So in a weird way, our government was partially funded by OnlyFans whores. Checks out. But you gotta understand, a lot of these guys would do it for free. Hypothetical. One country must no longer exist. A, the United States. B, Israel. Choose. Read Revelations and report back. When people talk about the separation of church and state,
yes,
this is the shit they're talking about. What the f***? Like, what do you mean there's an American politician saying he would rather the nation he allegedly serves be destroyed over evangelical Wakanda? Get this guy out of here! I actually responded to this guy, and we had a little Twitter fight, and he just told me to read the Bible.
Yeah.
There are people...
That's all they have to say, because that's, for them, that is everything that they need to back them up in any argument from any perspective.
People in charge of our country right now who believe we have to go to war for a biblical prophecy. That is a giant, major conflict of interest. We need to be asking people like Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, Mike Huckabee, Mike Johnson. We need to be asking all these evangelicals in office the same exact question. Also, I just checked how much this guy gets paid from AIPAC, and whoa, buddy! Okay, so here's where it gets schizophrenic as
Was his name Bacon? Because boy, he is bringing home the bacon from the people who don't eat bacon.
While I am telling you this, please keep in mind, I don't believe this. This is what they believe. Because as I was writing this, I felt like a crazy person. With the evangelical doomsday lore, there is something called the Third Temple. In Judaism, there were two temples. There was the first temple, built around 10th century BC, and the second temple, rebuilt around the exile. And the third temple is this idea that a new Jewish temple will be built on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem to help usher in end times. Also, interesting side note here, Jewish people, especially Orthodox Chabad Jews, who are basically like the
wall.
evangelical
Say the line and touch the wall.
evangelicals of Judaism believe building this temple will not bring on the end times, but the Messianic Age, otherwise known as the Golden Age, where everyone will live under Noahide laws, where the concept of worshiping Jesus would basically be illegal. Meanwhile, the evangelical end times, the Jew...
Well, I don't think she should use this as her B-roll, because that's very clearly a Catholic priest. Right? Yeah.
Jews will convert to Christianity. So Christians and Jews are both looking to build this thing for very different reasons that do not complement each other at all, yet they are both working together to do it. And both think they will be right in the end. Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of War, has openly talked about rebuilding the Third Temple.
And there's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible.
Man, we just want affordable homes and groceries. What is this shit? And Pete Hegseth, according to the president, is apparently the guy who does not want the war to end.
I said, Pete and General Raisin Kane, I think this thing's going to be settled very soon. Here they go. Oh, that's too bad. Pete didn't want it to be settled.
So... what is so bad about rebuilding this temple? If none of this is true, like, who gives a shit? Like, freedom of religion. Well, here's the issue. If the goal is to trigger a massive war in order to get Jesus to return, they will do shit to make that happen. They will want to destroy and destabilize the Middle East, and they will use your sons and daughters to do it for them.
I go back to South Carolina, I'm asking them to send their sons and daughters over to the Mideast.
Wow, the childless warmonger with no stake in the future and moles on his ass wants our children to go fight and die in another pointless war? That last thing is true, by the way, about the moles. Look it up. Actually, don't. You'll regret it. Don't. Also, the area they want to build...
Shoo. You asked me to do things, and then you regret asking me to do things.
Build this temple thing on already has like a big mosque on it called the Al-Aqsa Mosque. I don't know how to fucking say that. And destroying this site would have like devastating consequences for the Middle East and for us. Not that they care. Just keep an eye out if that Al-Aqsa Mosque gets conveniently destroyed by a rogue Iranian missile or something in the upcoming days of this war. So yes, it is a holy war. We are being non-consensually dragged into a holy war by 3 different sets of desert people, just as I started to get my life together. Now here is the important question. Could all this doomsday talk these politicians are saying out loud just be religious pandering to the massive evangelical population that votes for the GOP to get them to vote for a war that is ultimately about, you know, like land and weapons and territory or whatever the Yes, absolutely yes. It could all be bullshit. They might not actually believe it. I mean, a bunch of politicians, like, they're going to islands and like rape kids. You think these people believe in God? But remember, like I said, many do. Sometimes people really do believe in things and they will kill and die for them. Or, you know, make you go kill and die for them. I know it's hard for people to understand this. They understand it perfectly well when it comes to radical Islam, when Muslims will like blow themselves up for Allah or whatever the Yet when it comes to other religions, like, they can't really comprehend it. Just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean that people who do won't do crazy shit. Like, because they believe in something.
Yeah, that's, oh my God, I hate these kinds of pictures with, but yeah, that is very true. It's like, it's one of the reasons why I'm trying to convince myself to put my opinions more out there, is because I think that I foolishly just thought that most people probably think like me, and it turns out that they don't. And sometimes that's a relief. And sometimes that's, you know, scary as hell, because they believe much, you know, there's people out there who are much more convicted in their beliefs that I completely disagree with.
commanders across more than 30 military bases told troops the Iran war was part of God's plan and linked it to Armageddon. A commander said Trump was anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon. The Military Religious Freedom Foundation says it has received over 110 similar complaints describing the war as biblically sanctioned and a sign of the Christian end times. So here's the question. Does Trump believe in this? No. No, I don't think so. But the people around him do, and they talk about it all the time. And after Trump was like a millimeter away from being brutally and horrifically assassinated on live TV, probably not good or healthy that he has people like Mike Huckabee in his ear, the United States ambassador to Israel, saying this in regards to bombing Iran. Mr. President, God spared you in Butler, Pennsylvania to be the most consequential president in a century, maybe ever. The decision on your shoulders I would not want to be made by anyone else. You have many voices speaking to you, sir, but there is only one voice that matters. His voice. I am your appointed servant in this land, and I am available for you, but I do not try to get in your presence often because I trust your instincts. No president in my lifetime has been in a position like yours, not since Truman in 1945. I don't reach out to persuade you, only to encourage you. I believe you will hear from heaven, and that voice is far more important than mine or anyone else's. You sent me to Israel to be your eyes, ears, and voice, and make sure our flag flies above our embassy. My job is to be the last one to leave. I will not abandon this post. Our flag will not come down. You did not seek this moment. This moment sought you. It is my honor to serve you. Mike Huckabee. Not since Truman in 1945.
Yeah, I wonder what that's in reference to.
What did he mean by this, chat? In conclusion, evangelical Wakanda is an interesting aspect to all of this to consider. It might not be the only cause of the war. I don't think it is. I think there's many different reasons. But I think it is pretty important to consider the fact that there are people in power right now who are very close to the President of the United States who may be a teeny itsy bitsy bit biased when it comes to war in the Middle East. Also, draft Lindsey Graham.
Yes.
That is all. Thank you for
Put him
your
on the front line.
matter. If you guys,
he deserves it. He's gotten fat on the hog. I mean, literally, look at him for too long. So put him out there, get him up and out onto the front line, supporting those boys. I mean, I think, hey, while he's alive, I think he's going to be having a good time with all those strapping young men. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Want a completely uncensored version of this video with no bleeps, donate to my Patreon, link down below. All Patreons get a raw version of each video a day before. Become a member of Big Simp today. Also, big shout out to Ground News again for sponsoring this video. It was hard to get a sponsor for this video. I was about to do it with no sponsor, and Ground News was like, sure, we'll do it. Talk about whatever you want. Like, that's base. That's base.
Yes, super base.
Go give them some love. And I will see you guys next time with a slop video. I promise.
Please. No, not just slop. Give us the VTuber video, Shoe. We want to know about VTubers from you. We've been wanting to know for over a year about VTubers from you, Shoe, and you've been tempting and taunting us. Everybody in my audience, go and ask Shoe for those VTubers. Yeah.
For I hear the sound of victory. I hear the sound of victory. I hear the sound of
victory. This
victory.
guy just walking past her. That was great. All right. Okay. Folks, thank you so much. Wait, let me flip this over to this version. Folks, thank you so much for watching with me. I appreciate your time. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel. Oh, and I just posted a video that is a unboxing of my game. So you can see all the components of the game X Seekers of Fortune all in one video hosted by me. And that will give you a little preview of what I hope what I plan, not just hope, what I intend for my my own personal originals to look like. I got this green screen set up again. I'm standing in front of it. I feel really strong. I feel really passionate about that look. Now I just need to write some scripts or do the dirty work of ranting to the camera for 45 minutes and cutting it down to 5. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. I've been Joelee, that bitch Dolly warned you about, and I will see you next time. Hang loose. Wait, no, that's not. No. Enjoy yourself. Wait. That's right. I'm sorry. Let me do the. Wait, there. There we go. Enjoy yourself.